Dun. And alive. Life opens before me like a flower. I'm in a small town called Harvey in Western Australia right now. It's a tiny farming town. Um, when I first got here, I had hitchhiked into town and I had the last $50 in the world in my hand. Um, so I was fucked basically. I had no money, no job, no place to stay. I knew nobody here. I didn't have any internet. I had no phone. I had nothing. I had a tent, and that was going to be enough. And I had I could buy a little bit of food and stuff. So I wasn't completely fucked, but I was pretty much fucked. So I asked around town for if there was any work going. I went to a local chicken treat, and she gave me the number of a taxi driver. The taxi driver put me onto a citrus company, a citrus growing and packing farm. And I walked over to their house a few kilometers out of town, and they were doing the gardening. And I said, "Hello, I need a job. Do you have a job?" And they gave me a job. They gave me a house. They drove me over to the house, gave me a bike. I met the two Tongans that I'd been living with, Hame and Tavita, uh, who I proceeded to pick oranges with for 3 weeks. Pick and pack oranges and limes. That work was pretty fucking good. Like it was intense to be working after so long of traveling. I was working 12 hours every single day, 6 days a week, rather. Um, Picking oranges as fast as I possibly could because it was based on reward, the payment. Every huge crate, and they were huge, was I believe $30. So I would pick 7 or 8 in a day normally, and so I would earn $210 to $240 a day, roundabouts. A little bit less sometimes, a little bit more sometimes. Yeah, um, which is, I mean, good money. I was pretty happy having no money and then getting this good job. Yeah, that was a good start. So that was my first foray into Harvey. That was my first experience. I was living in this house, maybe 10 kilometers out of town, so a little bit of a bike ride. But yeah, it was beautiful. My whole body would ache in the mornings when I would wake up and be so stiff, and it would feel impossible for me to get out of bed. Every morning I would get up, I would go to work, and my body would loosen up, and then I'd pick the shit out of some oranges and earn some money, and then eat with the boys at night, watch some TV, and that's my life for 3 weeks. I kind of sucked at the packing part of the job. I couldn't pick the right oranges. Like I had to pick the bad oranges, and just for the life of me, I couldn't do it well enough. Apparently, I think I was overthinking it, getting too stressed out. So it was a family-run business, and the dad and the son would come over to me and tell me slightly different things, and I overthink anyway. So it stressed me out a lot, and I didn't even bring it up with them. Even after I left, I still didn't say anything about it to them. Uh, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity that they gave me. It was awesome. Just get that little bit of money and a little bit of confidence that I could actually get some work and get paid. Yeah. So at the time, I didn't have any internet in that house. I still didn't have a phone either. So I would go to the public library in town, in this little town of Harvey, which is a half Italian town, which is pretty surreal. Like there's a little piazza. All the irrigation in the town for the farming is Italian based, I believe. So a lot of the farmers here, like I was working for an Italian farmer who immigrated here, 40 years ago, but was still thoroughly Italian, still had the accent, and was still uh, just Italian. He was very Italian, and I've met Italians since then. I live with an Italian now, um, and yeah, it's amazing how they've kind of blended blended into the Australian melting pot. Um, so I finished at that job. They told me there was no more work. Although I think there was more work, but I didn't do so well in the packing shit. So they said au revoir or arrivederci, ciao, ciao bella, um, and yeah. So I would use the library um, for the internet, and the school kids from nearby schools would come in and sit at the computers next to me and like pester me and give me loads of crap, and I'd give them crap back, and we'd have some fun and play games and shit and talk. These kids from like 6 years old to 16, 18 even, coming in after school doing homework and stuff like that. And I would talk to the librarians, I would talk to the parents, and yeah, so they were, basically my little friends. I didn't really know anyone else either, not gonna lie, so it was kind of nice just to play with these kids and yeah, just have someone to talk to in English for a change, because I've been traveling a while now. So the day I left the Orange Place, Harvey Citrus, I had nowhere to stay that night. I left the house and walked into town. I had my rucksack on again, I had my tent, quite prepared to just set up the tent, and that was going to be my home for the night. But luckily, an advert that I'd found advertising the room came through, and I stayed there the night. But not before I wandered into town and saw one of the kids from the library, right? So I'm like, hello. What's his name? Oh my, Jack. Is it Jack? Might be Jack. Yeah, I think it's Jack. Jack. I saw this kid, Jack. Uh, so I said, hello. How's it going? He showed me his old house. Wandered around a bit. I bought him a burger. Uh, and people were looking at me a little bit funny. Like, it's a small town, and I'm walking around with this kid. I think people know the kid, they didn't know me, although eh, I don't know. I don't know. Whatever. It was kind of, I felt a little bit weird about the situation anyway. And then I walk into a bakery later on. It starts to rain, so I run into this bakery, and this kid Jack's with me. Another kid, Jai from the library, is kind of tagged along now, and this third kid called Jaden. Um, and I walk into this bakery, and the lady behind the counter just takes one look at me and says, "Who the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you with these kids? Do their parents know you? Do you like all this?" And I was pretty worried about she was going to call the police or something like this. Fucking, I don't know, kill me, burn me outside the village, bury me. Um, but actually, she turned out to be super cool. She drove the one of the kids back to their house, and I tagged along with her. I met one of the kids' parents, and I just introduced myself. And they were like really rough, and it's strange. You meet the kid was just like full of energy, and kind of a modern kid growing up on the internet, all that. He's young. I don't know. He was like 8 or 9. And then I met his parents, and these huge, like the dude was this huge, like gruff, very quiet, tattoo covered, beer drinking gentleman of Harvey. It's kind of surreal, kind of I interesting to meet the parents. I mean, surprising to see them. So then I went back with the lady from the bakery, who I'm going to call Nala, and Nala gave me a hit off a bong, which was magical. Um, First bit of weed I smoked in maybe 3 months or so, maybe a little more. No, actually, that's not true. No, that's it. Been the first weed I smoked in about a month. Um, and it was fucking magical, and I had a great time with her, like just laughing and chatting and all that. She was a motor mouth, just fucking talking nonstop, and she's been a good mate of mine since then. I've been here a few months now, and she's super cool. Nala, with a line. Um, so I wandered out of her house and found the house that I'm currently in, that I'm currently filming this from. That was maybe 3 months ago, 4 months ago now. And I met the housemates, an Italian and a Taiwanese man, two of them. And I was high at the time, not massively high, not enough for them to notice really, but they were against weed, so it's just as well they didn't notice. They are against weed, I should say. Uh, so then I stayed here for a while and tried to find some more work. That was difficult. It was difficult just to motivate myself to walk around and fucking get out and apply at the library and all that. And the money that I earned at the other job was rapidly dwindling, and I was trying to pay off some debt back home from the traveling, but it wasn't really, it wasn't possible. I hadn't earned enough to be able to pay that off and live while I was looking for a job. So once again, my money was starting to dwindle. And, you know, I had this wonderful kind of rebirth in a way, a kind of a finding of myself, finding of the motivation that I needed to get out and get a job and get busy and meet people, and that's what I did. I got loads of work, one after the other, jobs after jobs, picking different fruit, vegetables, and eventually it was my housemates that got me two jobs, which one of which I'm still doing today. One, I was picking vegetables and packing them in an organic farm, just doing quite casual work, maybe 15, 20 hours a week. And the other job, I was working nights as a cleaner in abattoir, a cow killing factory. Um, yeah, so very good money doing that. And here I am. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to sum up all the experiences of the last few months. I mean, nothing massively exciting really. Just I mean, working with Taiwanese and Filipinos and Koreans and drinking and smoking weed and just working hard, and I managed to pay off the travel debts a couple of weeks ago. And then I've been saving money since then, and I've just got a little bit more money to save, and I'll be on my way. I'll be traveling again, and it's an amazing town. I love Harvey. Very rural, quiet, safe. One or two characters, but very quiet and peaceful. I mean, I can hear the birds outside my window right now, and that's pretty much all day. And there's only a sliver of the night where the birds calm down um, and grow quiet. It's a gorgeous place. The people here are strong and healthy, and fearful too. I do encounter fear sometimes. Um, I don't know. I think this is a normal thing, but I met the neighbors fairly recently, and they couldn't help but introduce into the conversation talk of how there were many more crimes occurring in the local area, not in Harvey necessarily, just around um, in this part of the world. More murders, more, you know, drugs. Um, and to me, I could see how it really affects them. They really actually carry that with them all through the day. You know, they walk around and that's what they think about. Um, but to me, it's incredibly safe. It's a lovely place to live. It's so wealthy and so peaceful and safe and happy, friendly. You know, people walk around and talk to each other in the streets. And you smile at people in the street, and they'll smile back and wave back at you, even if you've never seen them in your life. Like that's the kind of town it is. And yet, there's people who carry a feel with them. And it's definitely something I've seen before and back home in England. Definitely kind of like a I don't know. I'd like to say it's kind of a Western disease, but it's probably just a human disease. It's probably everywhere really, infecting all levels of society, all places where there are people and things to be fearful. Um, but truly, it's the mind killer. I mean, for me, I carry around my own fear that I'm inadequate, that you know, socially I'm some sort of freak, basically, some sort of I don't know, someone that people can't feel comfortable around, and that I can't feel comfortable around other people, and you know, sometimes that's something that I feel in my life, but that kind of anxiety, that kind of social phobia, is a cross that I can bear quite happily. Like you know, it really, it's quite minor. I kind of, the way I've just described it makes it sound like a big deal, but really, like, it only comes up a small amount of the time. It's not a big deal. It's probably just a very normal thing, a normal amount of anxiety to experience. Whereas the fear that a lot of people seem to experience is, you know, one of worrying about Sharia law and being practiced in nearby, and Muslims taking over, or maybe that the immigrants are going to take all the jobs, and oh no, not those Asian fellow folks, you know, down the street. Oh, they're making the place smell like Oriental spices, and they're taking the jobs and taking the money back home. Our economy is going to be fucked. And you know, worrying about politics, and there's a lot. Yeah, I fucking hate watching the news. Right, I hate watching people, just this completely negative uh, story being told to you. You know, the headlines are always the tragedies and the worst things in the world, which of course there's many like terrible things happening in the world. There's 7 billion people, right? Of course, every day there's like millions and millions of people die, right? And generally that's going to make the headlines. You know, millions of babies being born perfectly healthy, safe, and happy, with happy families and no complications. They're not particularly going to make the news. So the picture is skewed that we receive. You know, my when I walk around in my life in these last few months, I just see normal people. I see a safe place. I see just plenty of everything that we need. You know, we have so much food, so much shelter, so much uh, time. We have so much free time to do what we want with. Um, and yet people are kind of miserable. It's very sad. But Harvey, in general, has been bloody lovely to me. It's been very kind to me, and I'll be very sad to see it go and to say goodbye to all the people that looked after me and all the friends I made and the positive connections. But when I go to various countries of the people I've met here, I'm sure I'll meet them again. It'll be nice to wave to the locals I've met here from across the world. At some point in the future. So for now, right now, I'm getting very psyched. I'm starting to getting a massive buzz whenever I think about 2 months' time when I'm probably going to pack up and leave. Take all my shit, put it in a bag, walk out the door, and don't come back. Exciting times.